Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack, and today we're going to be discussing, in my opinion, the four biggest moves from this year's MLB trade deadline and which team won or lost the deal. And the four moves we're going to be discussing today is Luis Castillo to the Mariners, Juan Soto to the Padres, Frankie Montas to the Yankees, and also Josh Hader to San Diego. So yeah, let's get into it, you guys. It's going to be a fun one. So the first trade I want to talk about with you guys is one of the more interesting ones from this year's deadline, in my opinion, where actually both teams, I think, won. And that is Luis Castillo being dealt from the Cincinnati Reds to the Mariners in exchange for Noel V. Marte, Edwin Arroyo, and Andrew Moore. Now, from both sides of the spectrum here, this is a very good trade for both teams, as the Mariners are hoping to make a playoff push, and on the other hand, the Reds are on the outside looking in at this point of the season. Marte and Arroyo headline an absolute haul of prospects that the Reds were able to acquire for their starting pitcher. And I truly believe these two guys specifically will help them start their rebuild very nicely going forward for the future. Now, on the other hand, despite giving away two top prospects in their farm system, the Mariners won this deal as well. And they are now in win now mode, with Julio Rodriguez emerging as a superstar in front of our eyes, and the team overall having pretty solid success this season. Now, despite his bad season so far, Robbie Ray will now have a partner in crime, Luis Castillo, to back him up in the playoffs, hopefully, if the Mariners can make it for the first time since 2001. So I think both the Mariners and the Reds win this trade, as Seattle tries to go to the playoffs for the first time since 2001, as I mentioned, and the Reds get two solid prospects to spark their rebuild for the future. Now, the next move I want to talk about literally might go down as the biggest trade ever in any trade deadline for baseball's entire history. As you probably have heard by now, the Nationals gave up Juan Soto and Josh Bell to the Padres in exchange for Robert Hassell, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, James Wood, Harlan Susana, and Luke Voigt. Now, in my personal opinion, I truly believe Juan Soto is going to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown one day. So, with that being said, the Nationals did not win this trade here. You cannot make any argument that would sway me another way that would convince me giving up a future Hall of Famer for some prospects is a good trade. And they gave up Josh Bell as well. Probably their two best players on their team. So the Nationals did not win this trade at all. But with that being said, they made the best of the situation they had. And they got a lot of good prospects, headlined by Mackenzie Gore and C.J. Abrams, who will be nice pieces in their rebuild going forward. So if I had to give the Nationals a grade, it would be a C-, in my opinion. But on the other hand, the Padres get an A+++ for me, because they went out in this deadline and got the two best hitters available and a potential future Hall of Famer that is only 23 years old, and it already has championship experience under his belt in a World Series ring with the Nationals. So instantly after this deadline, the Padres are the favorites for the World Series, in my opinion. And this trade, as well as the other one I'm going to discuss later in this video, helps them a lot. With this next trade I want to talk about, I'm going to try my best to keep my personal hatred for the Yankees to the side on this one, since, as you all know, I'm a Red Sox fan. But I just want to say something to the Oakland Athletics. Why? Why would you do this to me and every other Boston fan ever? Every single year, the New York Yankees do something like this at the trade deadline, where they acquire all-star caliber players for essentially bags of chips in a Coke. The Yankees this time fleeced Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino away from the Oakland Athletics for J.P. Sears, Luis Medina, Cooper Bowman, and Ken Waldichuk. Frankie Montas just makes this Yankees starting rotation even better as they add another quality starter where they had 2 All-Stars in the starting rotation already. So, of course, I have to say it's a win for the Yankees, as usual, but this pains me to say because obviously I'm a Red Sox fan, but for the Athletics, you get an F for me, in my personal opinion. And maybe it's a bit over-dramatic, but still, you traded away maybe your best player in Frankie Montas for what? Absolutely nothing as far as I'm concerned. The Yankees even kept their top 3 best prospects as well, Volpe, Dominguez, and Peraza. You could have gotten at least one of those guys if you're Oakland and started your rebuild, but instead you got a bunch of prospects that are lower than those guys, which in my opinion isn't very good. So without a doubt, this trade is a massive W for the Yankees as they get another quality arm to bolster their starting rotation, and they kept their top prospects as well. And on the other hand, this is a massive L for the Athletics, solely based on the fact that they got nothing in return for Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino, 2 very solid arms, and in my opinion, I feel as if they could have at least gotten one of those top 3 prospects that I mentioned earlier. Finally, the last trade I want to talk about in this video is Josh Hader being sent to the Padres for Dinelson Lamet, Taylor Rogers, and Robert Gasser. Obviously, this is another huge move for the Padres, acquiring quite possibly the best closer in all of baseball over the past 3 to 5 years, and this only makes their championship odds even better in my opinion. For whatever reason, Hader has been in trade talks for a while now with the Brewers, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Brewers do going forward without him, considering they're probably going to try and make a playoff run as well this year. So definitely another huge W for the Padres on this deal, and I'd say the trade is pretty neutral for Milwaukee. We'll have to reevaluate later on for them to really grade this deal because we don't really know how Taylor Rogers and Lamet and Gass are going to do for them. So we'll have to see. But definitely the Padres win the whole entire deadline here, and that is very obvious. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed as always. Please let me know down in the comments your guys' thoughts on this recent trade deadline. What move maybe was more impactful than the ones I mentioned? And who you guys think is going to win the World Series now after these moves that already happened. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. That's going to do it for now. Peace.